Assalamualaikum and hi. Today I will be presenting about Food Hygiene Regulation 2009, Section 30 to 38. Part 4, Food Handler, Chapter 1, Training, Medical Examination and Health Condition, Clothing and Personal Hygiene of Food Handler. A food handler is anyone who works in a food business, who either handle food or surfaces that are likely to be in contact with food such as cutlery, plates and bowls. A food handler may do many different things for food business. Regulation 30. Food handler training. All food handlers shall undergo a food handler training and obtain a certificate of food handler training. Require any food handler to attend any additional food handler training in any institution specified by the director if he thinks necessary. Any food handler who are in any food premises fail to undergo the training or obtain a certificate referred to in Subdivision 1 or fail to obtain any additional training referred to in Subdivision 2 commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Regulation 31. Medical examination and health condition of food handler. A food handler shall be medically examined and vaccinated by a registered medical practitioner. A food handler who suffered from or is a carrier of foodborne disease or suspected to be suffering from or to be carrier of foodborne disease shall not be allowed to enter food premises or handle food. Immediately report to the management of food premises pertaining to his health condition. Be suspended from working in food premises until he is uh, certified cure from the disease and medically fit work by a registered medical practitioner before he is allowed to enter the food premises or handle food. This is due to we don't want the workers to infect other customers. Food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1 or 2 commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Relegation 32. Clothing of food handler. A food handler shall wear a clean, suitable and proper clothing which shall not contribute to any contamination of food. A clean, suitable and light-coloured outer overall or a light-coloured apron, head cover and footwear or any other clothing which is suitable to the opinion of the director or an officer authorised by him. The clothing specified in paragraph 1b shall not be worn other than in food premises and shall be kept in a suitable cupboard or locker when not in use. Food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1 or 2 commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to fine not exceeding 1,000 ringgit. So this is the proper food handler clothing. This is for male, this is for female. Relegation 33. Personal hygiene of food handler. A food handler will, while handling, preparing, packing, carrying, storing, displaying and serving of food shall maintain a high degree of personal cleanliness, which include the keeping of short and clean fingernail. Remove his overall or head cover or apron before visiting toilet. This is to prevent from the bacteria to stick on to the head cover or apron. Wash his hand before commencing work immediately after using the toilet and after handling raw food or any contaminated material. This is to avoid from cross contamination. Not engage in any behavior or action that could result in contamination of food. Not place any article in pocket or any garment or apron which may contribute to any contamination of food. Not wear jewelry, watch, pin or other accessories. Any food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1 commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to fine not exceeding 10,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Um, we as food handlers should not wear jewelry, watch, pin or any other accessory because if we wear jewelry, the jewelry might fall off into the customer food, so that will be inappropriate. Regulation 34. Duty to keep food premises clean. A food handler shall ensure that food premises where the food is handled are kept clean and free from rubbish, pest, dirt or salt. Sweeping ashes, waste and cobweb at all times. Food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1 commits an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 10,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Regulation 35. Handling of food, appliance and etc. A food handler shall handle food and use food appliance and food container in accordance with the following requirement. Food shall not be brought into direct contact with any material or substance that may contaminate the food. All appliances and containers used in food premises are to be maintained in good condition, clean, easily clean, and this where necessarily disinfected at all times. This is to cap the lifespan of the food, um, so it will not be rotten or whatnot. All parts of appliance container that come into direct contact with any moist food or high-risk food for sale is smooth of impervious surface and is not defective. The sweeping of a floor, cleaning of a wall, or dusting of a ceiling shall not carry out while the food is being handled. This is to avoid from the dust to fall into the food that we are delivering to the customer. So all sweeping and cleaning and dusting should be done before opening the shop and after closing the shop. Any food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 commit an offence and shall on conviction to be liable to a fine not exceeding 10,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Regulation 36. Preparing, packing and serving of food. Ensure food packaging material are non-toxic and of sufficient strength to resist tearing and puncturing. Ensure food packaging material do not affect safety and suitability of food under the specified condition of storage and use. Not use his bare hand to handle any unwrapped food. Not use his breath to open any bags or wrap intended for such intent wrapper intended for use in such preparation, packing and serving. Regulation 37. Storage, exposure or display of food for sale. A food handler shall not store, expose or display for sale any food ready for human consumption in any food premises unless the food is adequately protected from contamination by any person who come into contact with the food. Other source of contamination by means of any effective and by using easily clean cabinet, display case, container, cover or other protective equipment, system or device. Any food handler who fail to comply with subdivision 1 commit an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine exceeding 10,000 ringgit or imprisonment for terms not exceeding 2 years. This is for when you display food, we need to put it in a container due to some customer might touch the food if it is not be in a container. Um, so if it is in container, so the food will be protected from germs and pests. Relegation 38. Storage of food. Storage of food. A food handler shall store food in accordance with the following requirement. Food is stored in a suitable storeroom large enough for the separate storage of raw food material from processed food product and sufficient separate refrigerator storage. The storage must be big enough for the workers to get in and sort all the items, and if is not big enough, at least it can separate the storage from raw food and dry food. Food is kept clean, free from contamination, foul odor, odors, protected from damp, dust or pests, and prevented from being in contact with raw material or any other article which may contribute to any contamination of food. Food is placed or stacked with a minimum space of 15 centimeters between the wall of a storage facility and the food store, and must be 20 centimeters above the floor. This specific numbers must be applied in the food storage. First is because we don't want any dust that is from the wall to get in the food that we store. And for the second one is we don't want any pests to climb the store, to climb up the cabinet store and eat all the food that is stored in the storage room. Regulation 38. Store of food. High risk food is kept in enclosed container and stored separately from food that is not sealed or wrapped. Perishable food or high risk food is stored in an appropriate temperature that will protect it against deterioration and spoilage. A food handler shall not store chilled or frozen food exceeding the maximum capacity of a store facility. Chill condition for a continuous period between temperature of -1 and 1 degree to 10 degree Celsius. So the conclusion from what I have learned from this food hygiene regulation 2009, that we as food handler must follow all the regulations that have been given or shown to us for the for the protection of the customer and for our safety as well. Secondly, we also must pay really good attention to all the regulation, because we as food handler, we don't want our customer to be sick because of the food that they consume from our food, the food that they consume from our restaurant. That is all for me. Thank you for your time.